Hello everybody, welcome to the I Am IT Geek YouTube channel. My name is Shabazz Dan, I am the IT Geek. Welcome to what is episode 3 of my Nerdio series. Let's just give you a bit of a recap. In episode 1 was just more of an introduction episode, just explained what I'm going to be covering in this series. And I think this total is going to be 4 episodes. So episode 1 was the sort of intro. Episode 2, which was last week's episode, I showed how to actually provision Nerdio for Enterprise Manager in Microsoft Azure from the marketplace and went through all those steps. This is obviously episode 3, where we're actually going to be provisioning some resources from within Nerdio Manager for Enterprise. And episode 4 will be showing how to manage them once you've provisioned those services. So it's just a short series, really, and I'm not really doing the whole PowerPoint deck with these. It's more kind of I've been playing with Nerdio recently, so I wanted to share my own thoughts, my experiences with everybody. So again, I'm not affiliated with Nerdio in any way. I'm just a massive admirer of the actual services they do and this tool. And again, like I said, I'm provisioning it, so I thought, why not share my thoughts and my experiences with yourselves, with all my subscribers and non-subscribers for those that aren't subscribed and watch. So like I said, we're going to go back into my I Am IT Geek tenant today, because that's where I kind of pre-provisioned my main tenant that I want to use to provision services. So we'll jump into that, and then we'll just start going through the different, what we can provision and start having a play. So here we are in Nerdio Manager for Enterprise, and we're on the dashboard at the moment. And you can see we've got all our menu options on the left-hand side, as we saw in last week's episode and before that when I was showing the tenant a little bit. So the first thing I'm really going to go to is workspaces. I'm just going to try and provision a workspace, because obviously you need at least one workspace. For anyone who knows Azure Virtual Desktop, you need at least one workspace within your tenant. If you don't know Azure Virtual Desktop, then I do have a full Zero to Hero series on that. Please do check that out. So just click on workspace. I'm just going to add a workspace. Let's just think of a name for it. Nerdio workspace 01. So that's not visible to the user, it said, so you cannot change it. So just be careful what you name it. Make sure you've got a naming convention. This is a demo tenant, so it's really irrelevant, but I was going to go with Nerdio WS01 for Nerdio Workspace 01. The friendly name, so this is what will be visible to the user. Nerdio Works, let's just call it Nerdio WS. Let's call it Nerdio WS. Give a description in there if you want. And within my I Am IT Geek tenant, I provisioned all my Nerdio resources. When I provisioned it from the marketplace, I created an IT Geek RGO3. So I'm gonna obviously need to make sure I select that. And again, the location. So for those who in Azure, when you're provisioning your workspace, UK South was only the UK sector regions have only been available in the last 2-3 months. So before it used to have to be America or another country, but the location has changed. So this is like where the metadata is going to be saved, equivalent of that. So UK South is my go-to region, so I'll leave it at that. And then click on OK. And I believe that's probably how simple it is, just creating a workspace, and it's done. It gives you a little, shows a task there, so that's quite good. Shows you when it was created, it shows you when it's completed, so it can take a minute. Click on more details if you want, and it shows exact. That's really, really interesting how it just breaks everything down there and shows you the steps it did to create that workspace. So very, very impressive. So now I've created my workspace. I suppose I could go down the left-hand side and start, provisioning things in order that they show there. But I like to provision my underlying resources first, like my resource group, my networking, my storage account. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to jump to storage and Azure files. So again, if you have access, you can do Azure NetApp files. In my case, I don't. So I'm just going to do Azure files. And you can see I've got nothing pre-provisioned in here. So I'm going to add Azure files here on the right-hand side. So here we can either type the name to select an existing or create a new one. So I would like to type a name to select an existing one or create a new one. I'd like to create a new one. Oh, let's just try and create. Okay, so no, let's create a new one. So let's call it Nerdio SA01. And let's just see, has that. Oh, let's try it again. Nerdio SA01. Create Nerdio to storage account. Click on that there. Okay, perfect. And then we want to click on the IT Geek RGO3 location. Want to stick with UK South. So let's find UK South in here. Make sure it's premium for those Azure file shares. You need to make sure it's premium. File share, let's give the file share a name. So Nerdio user profiles, for example. Leave it at 100. Again, just make sure you've got your sizing down. I'm just going to leave mine at 100 because, you know, again, it's just for a demo really. So I'm not going to use a lot of space there. This is where we actually need to pick the permission. So here it says join to AD. So we want it to join to my amitgeek.com domain, which is perfect. So here, if I should type in FS Logics, it should find, there we go. So with this being the share contributor, I'm going to click on the relevant role. Now I've got for some reason it sees two, so I'm going to add them both. I think one's my hybrid one and one's the cloud only one. So select both for share contributor, then add users or groups from host pools. So again, I'm going to leave that one blank so I don't have any there, but I could select users, or I could add users and groups if I wanted to, but I'm just going to leave that as it is. And then I can just, again, at the bottom here, I can show advanced details if I want. And I can also enable SMB multi-channel if I wanted. That's in preview at the moment. So that gives you a bit of a warning in red. This task will take some time to complete. Monitor progress in tasks section below. Let's just click on OK. So now, as you can see there, it's provisioning that, and we can monitor the status of that. So let that provision, and then I'll come back once that's configured. We'll have a look at it. So that's finished provisioning. What I'd also like to do is just show how we can actually link an existing Azure file share. So if let's go to link Azure files. Let's pick an existing storage account. I think that's the one there. And I think I've got another profiles there. Going OK. And that should add an existing account there, which is all Azure AD joined. As you can see here with the Nerdio one I tried to do, they had an issue with AD don't join my Active Directory. So you can actually look at the sort of errors that you got with that as well. So if we just go to that, click on that, it takes us to the actual storage account. But also, if we wanted to look at the actual errors, we could look into the logs and go look at why that didn't join. So again, it's got a lot of information here. If you just click on logs there, this will show us there. So if we go to, you know, it shows the details of anything that was completed or anything that failed. And again, just a lot of information for, you know, if you do need to troubleshoot. So it's really, really good log analytics in there as well. So just go back to the Azure files. So we've got one that I provisioned from new, and I've joined an existing one there. And again, just click on manage here, and it allows us to auto scale up and configure that. File handles, copy the UNC path, or even unlink it. So click on here, and if I unlink that, what does it do? Are you sure you want to unlink Azure files? Yep. So it unlinks that from your tenancy, which is quite interesting. And then I've just got my one single user profile one. So excellent. Another excellent kind of feature there, being able to remove resources and when you need and keep it tidy. So again, that was a really straightforward, very simple. And again, I didn't have to click around, you know, within Azure and the different portals to try and find, you know, what to do and where to do it, all in one sort of pane of glass. So far so good. So far, really good experience. I'm going to have a play with desktop images now. So let's click on this. Not got anything here at all. So we've got two options. We can either add from Azure Library, or we can add from an Azure VM. So I'm going to actually go from, I've not got any VMs provision that I want to copy from. So let's just go add from Azure Library. So here we can just give it a name, Nerdio, we'll call it Nerdio Image 01. Give a description if you want. I'm not going to for this. And here we can, again, through the marketplace, we can select which image we want really. So I'm going to go for the multi-session one, but not one of the old ones, one of the newer ones. So again, they're all in order as well. They're all in order of the version, which is really good. So they've got multi-session there. They've got generation 2. We've got one that comes with Office, which is that's really interesting. So we've got Windows 11. Wow, these guys are well up to date. Windows 11. I've not played a Windows 11, so actually I'm going to stick with Windows 10. So we'll go 21H1. I will maybe do another video and blog around Windows 11, but it's not on my list yet. So let's click on that. VM size, you can select whatever size we want. So we've gone, it's defaulted to D2S_V3. So that's 2 CPU, 8 gig of RAM. I'm a big fan of the B range, if I'm honest with you. B2MS is my kind of go-to when I'm doing like demos and so on. So I'm going to leave it on that. Leave it on. Again, I'm not too fussed about the OS disk at the moment. Again, it's just for a demo. So let's see what we've got here. Join to AD or Azure AD. Don't know if you want to do that because this is just a desktop image. So we'll click on untick that. Enable time zone. Yep, set time zone. Correct time zone. Install certificates. No, I'm all right for now. Provide custom credentials for a local administrator user. I will do that and just give it admin, and then just give it a password. And then geographic distribution, shared image gallery. No, I'm okay with that. Run the following scripted actions. Don't need any scripted actions for this, but it's good to know we've got that option. So let's click on this. Store image in shared gallery and automatically distribute to selected Azure region. Okay, that's quite interesting. So we could create a new one or add it to an existing one. I've not got an existing one, so but that's quite interesting that we could sync it to different regions as well. So again, this can take up to about an hour to complete, so it's good that it lets you know that. So let's click on OK here. And now let's let that desktop image add. What I'll do is when this is complete, we'll come back to it and see what other options we have to manage it. Okay, that did take a while. Just go to details. It shows us everything that has been provisioned. And the start time was about, well, shows 3:51 there, which time zone's wrong, I think. But anyway, so it took about 20 minutes, which is, again, to say what I had to provision, so it's about right. So there I have my VM, so that's my desktop image. So I'm not going to go into all the management yet because that's episode 4. That's going to be episode 4. So I remember that episode. But now we've got what we've done now is we've provisioned a workspace very easily. We've provisioned some Azure files. We've provisioned some new ones, and we linked an already existing one. And then we've created a desktop image. So I think with everything else I've got in place, I'm ready to provision a host pool now. So okay, let's just do it. So we go to workspaces. This is obviously one we created earlier. Go to user sessions. So now we can either create a dynamic host pool or a static host pool. So if we go to dynamic host pool, we can add a dynamic host pool. So we've not got any static host pools either. So let's go to add a dynamic host pool. Let's enter a name. So Nerdio HP01. So I'm assuming by dynamic it's a it's not the personal. The static is the personal, I believe, and the dynamic one will be the pooled. I couldn't think of the word then, but it'll be pooled. So just give it a name, give it a description if you're that way inclined. So desktop experience. Let's have a look at what this is. Full desktop experience. Users aren't assigned to individual session hosts and are placed on a host based on its load. Yeah. So this is pooled, like I said. So we can either have multi-use desktop pooled, multi-use remote app if you want a remote app, or single desktop pooled, or single user desktop pooled. Okay, so within the dynamic host where you can do a single user desktop personal. So I want to go for multi-user desktop pooled in this example. I may in later episodes might try this, but for now I just want to show the experience of provisioning something. So let's go multi-user desktop. Perfect. Directory name, yep, we want it on the IMITgeek.com one. FS Logics, we want to use our profile one, so it'll be the default profile. Name prefix, so this is where you give your essentially your session host will pick up this name. So let's go for Nerdio VM, and then yeah, let's go for actually Nerdio AVD, and then that'll give it a dash. Well, let's just look here. Actually, let's look on here what to do. Name of newly added host if host count is 1, or prefix can be used when creating multiple user session hosts. Name prefix is limit is 9, so you've got 9 characters essentially. Windows computer name characters. When using prefix, the system will automatically append the so after that it'll put dash like it does in AVD when you're doing it through Azure. So very similar. Right, desktop image. Yeah, we could do directly from the marketplace if we wanted, but I want to use the one we created earlier. VM size, again, I'm a big fan of the B range, so which is it? I think it's B2 MS is my go-to one. So quick assign. So if there's a user group we want to assign it to, we can do that now, or we can do it. So I'll leave that later. So let's click on OK, and that is then going to start provisioning my dynamic host pool. So this actually explains what a dynamic host pool is. So dynamic AVD host pool contains session host VMs are based on a single golden desktop image and can be configured to auto scale. Excellent. Okay, so here we have the manage auto scale. If we want, it's turned off at the moment, so I'm going to leave that off. But again, let's just look at what we can do here. So this allows us to essentially multi-session dynamic host pools provide each user a desktop session. Multi-users can connect to the same session host. Auto scaling is configured by setting minimum and maximum host pool sizings. So again, here we could reuse host names. We can automatically reimage and use hosts. So host pool sizing here. If this was turned on, obviously we've turned it off, but let's just have a look. So active host defined as AVD agent available. Base host pool capacity 5 hosts in a pool. Minimum activity host capacity is 1. So this lets us auto scale our Nerdio host pool, which is really good. Scaling logic, CPU, you can scale up to 1 host. If CPU utilization exceeds 65% for 5 minutes, well, that's quite nifty there. Again, I'm not going to provision this with just a quick demo, but I just wanted to show you what options we have here. So this is amazing. Again, with the auto scaling in Azure, you'd have to go to a different service, you know, the scale sets and all that lot. In here, it's all part of the same sort of window. It's all part of the same pane of glass. So it just makes it much more easier. And look on the right-hand side, it actually gives us costs. One thing I know is, trying to, the Azure calculator is great, but you have to actually go into that and configure everything to have a look at what your potential cost could be. This is actually telling us with the existing setup that we've got, the minimum compute is going to be $68.91, and the maximum will be $482. It tells us the storage cost as well, minimum maximum. So that's just, again, it's estimated, so it's not, this is how much it's going to be, but roughly, if you know the rough cost, that's amazing. So here, what I'm just going to do is I'm going to save and close. So that configuration has been successful. We actually have our session host now, so that's been provisioned successfully, which is amazing. Again, I'm not going to go to, you can manage, but we're not going to do that yet. That's going to save all that good stuff for the next episode. But what we've done now is we've configured a workspace, we've configured a dynamic host pool, we've not in this order, but we've done an image, we've done some storage. Let's just have so we've done the host pool, so I'm not going to go through the static and the user sessions. But if we go to MSIX app attach, let's have a look at what we can do in here. So I've not actually got anything set up with MSIX app attach in this tenant. So that may be something I do in a later episode. I might just do a specific episode around this because I've not actually got anything set up. So I will have a look at maybe in a bonus episode. But if we go further down, we can provision scripts here. So these are specific scripts that we've got within our tenant that are sort of predefined. So we've got Windows scripts here, and that's a Windows desktop optimization, virtual desktop optimization there as well, update Windows 10. So these are all scripts that we can clone if we want to and customize. Again, there's got some Azure runbooks in there, use spot beams. Again, we can got the options already predefined. I've not created these, so these are things already available in Nerdio Manager. So this is amazing. You've got all these ready-made runbooks and scripts that you can actually edit, save again, and customize yourself. So it's half a job done for you. So again, another good feature here within Nerdio Manager. What I'll do is I'm going to look at monitoring in the management section, in the management episode. So I won't go into that yet because, again, it's all part of the sort of management watering and feeding of the sort of Nerdio Manager resources. So we'll have a look at monitoring in the next episode, which is episode 4. We've done the Azure files. Let's have a look at users and roles. So again, here we can add. So if this is like all the RBACs, I could add another admin here if I wanted to the workspace, or I could add another group for the administrative tasks. So that's, again, being able to manage your sort of administrators and their roles here within the same pane of glass. Another great feature. We showed logs earlier. If we go down to settings, we can look at the Azure monitor, the Azure environment, storing what our settings are around here. So if we wanted to later on down the line enable VM availability sets, disable that, we could do. If we wanted to enable Windows 365 Enterprise, we could do that, or link another domain tenant, we could do that. Let's look at the Nerdio environment. We can amend bits here as well that we want to, email notifications, disable runbooks and scripted actions if you want. Here we have integration. So again, Azure Monitor Insights, Directory, FS Logic profiles. We can Sepago, which I don't know. I think that's a third-party Azure like a monitoring tool. REST APIs, GitHub repository. So again, it's got so much integration with other services, which is really impressive. You can mess about with the theme, make it all pretty colors if you wanted to. I'm not going to in this instance. An update. So here, actually, this is great. So this shows us any updates available, which is amazing. So Azure AD join Windows 11. Okay, so that's in preview. I'm pretty sure that got released GA, but so that's 10th of the 10th. So that was last week, but I'm sure there'll be an update. So I could deploy that if I wanted to. You can download the installers for the Windows 365 cloud provisioning and the autoscale for NetApp files installer. So this is great. It's got on updates, and you can update your tenancy as you go along as well. So very, very impressed. So again, I'm not going to provision in everything. I just like to provision certain specific areas around AVD, which again, just been really, really easy to do. If I have any errors, you can look at the logs very easily. And yeah, it was a bit time consuming, but only from a perspective as waiting for resources to provision. And that's the same with Azure. The fact that I can do everything from one portal is really, really beneficial. It just means you don't have to click around different services within Azure. Don't get me wrong, I love the Azure portal and PowerShell and doing all that sort of good stuff. Obviously there's the sort of Terraform as well. But I must admit, very impressed with how easy it was to deploy. And again, as an administrator, that's what you want, don't you? You want to be able to easily administer and deploy services in minutes. So yeah, very impressed with that. Thank you for watching this episode. This was obviously episode 3. The final episode in this series is going to be all sort of managing it and doing the monitoring and all that element. So please stay tuned for that. Again, if you please comment on my videos, I do appreciate all the feedback. If there's any suggestions you want to make for future episodes or just feedback on my production, anything like that, please do comment. Like and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I have my target and I want to hit one day of 1,000 subscribers, so any help towards that is very much appreciated. But that's it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. Up until next time, thank you and goodbye.